So considering how, I don't even know, like we did not think that this was going to be good. I felt like it was going to be one of the biggest slogs of the year, and I was upset because I didn't want it to be. Like I wanted it to be great, but I didn't think that Infinity War was that great. You know, I thought that Captain Marvel was fine, as we've said, but as we said, you know, we went in depth on that video. I just didn't really see how this was all going to be tied up in this in a way that was satisfying. Now, I'm saying all that now, as you know, because me and you just watched Avengers Endgame, and it was the fucking sickest shit I've ever seen, and I never stopped being surprised by how brilliant it was being.
It was magnificent, and I think the main reason I saw this, so we saw this day one, for you guys, you bastards, but that's the thing, I honestly think I wasn't looking forward to seeing this film, really. I was not only seeing this day one for the podcast, basically, I was also pretty much only seeing it to prove myself right about the plot predictions, which I made in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And yet, so I went in with, like, not even low expectations, just no expectations, just sort of like, I'm doing this because I have to, because I've done it 20 times before. And holy hell, it did it.
The only kind of pre-film twist and expectations I had was that I saw a bunch of headlines that were so overwhelmingly positive that I was like, shit, if there's even a chance that this movie is as good as people are saying in a headline, I can't read those reviews. And like you said with the predictions, what was amazing about this movie for me, without spoiling, is that everything that you knew was going to happen in it did happen, and yet there was an entire section of it that it was completely... Like, I was watching it and I was thinking, I never could have conceived that this is what I would have been seeing before I came into the cinema.
Yep. But
it's working, and it had, you know, that beginning and that end, but the kind of the second chunk of it, the biggest chunk, the middle bit, was crazy.
It was effortlessly surprising in a way that always felt natural and organic.
Yeah.
That was so chock full of ideas, big ideas, but also like
huge
so
ideas.
Perfectly executed down to like the scene. Like little, like just so many little scenes that we agreed like tie the movie together, and there'll be like little scenes that people will be talking about for ages. And they'll be like scenes that will become sort of maybe not cultural like touchstones, but you know there'll be scenes that you'll be able to reference and people will know because they were just so out there. Like there was some really bold, not bold moves maybe, but there were some really striking moves in the right direction for a franchise that everyone likes to sort of bag on as being kind of stale at this point. And for what is the end of an era, they really shook up the fucking snow globe on this one.
Absolutely,
in the best way, more so than the end of Infinity War with everyone dying, like in a much more satisfying, permanent way. It was very good. So I don't think we can probably say much more. Short of go see it.
I will close this spoiler-free part of the podcast by saying the mind boggles at how well this film hangs together, and how, as you said, as much as we've intermittently bagged on this this Marvel movie project before, about, you know, sometimes the continuity seeming arbitrary or hodgepodge or mishmashed, this was so deftly pulled off in every conceivable way that I never thought I would be so happy to have seen this kind of conclusion to this series, but I am. It feels good to have been a part of it.
Yep.
So definitely see it.
In the same way that we've complained recently about a bad end to a film undoing everything, like the old man and the gun, things sticking the not sticking the landing right.
Exactly.
This validated not only the film, but like the preceding dozen films. And that's incredible.
It enriched them, didn't it?
Yeah, it actively made me want to go back and watch them. Made me think of some of them in a way more positive light. It harkened back to, like literally some of them. I mean, I must have seen Avengers. The first Avengers must have come out when I was like 19, I think. That's a long time ago now. That's and that it made me feel like I was back there at points, and it gave me that same sense of wonder that I remember watching when I saw the Avengers.
Yeah,
and you can't really put a price on that. That's quite impressive.
And this movie paid you back, tenfold for having watched all of those. Do you know what I mean? It made it worth it. It was like there was a point to all of this, and Avengers Endgame. So yeah,
Definitely.
we're going to get into spoilers now.
Good spoilers now. Also, don't worry, it's not going to be positive. We will be bagging on it in the limited way we can later on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm going to talk about my plot hole.
glowing thumbs up.
Okay.
I love your plot hole. Okay, so spoilers. We're flashing up warnings.
Yeah. So everything you said came true, but this is one of the great things about this movie.
Great, let me do my victory lap. I was fucking right. Fucking none of you truthers, none of you birthers have got anything on Captain Marvel fucking 2019 review. Somewhere between 80 views and 1,000 views because YouTube hates us and is trying to censor us. Fucking called it. Called most of it. Called the main beats.
That's right.
To a T.
Fuck you, Charlie Sheen.
Fuck you, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. So there was the first raid on Thanos,
Yep.
which happened. Then you said that this would lead to a feeling of listlessness and dread because it had been pointless, which fucking happened.
Mm-hmm.
Then you said it would be quantum realm time travel, which fucking happened.
Mm-hmm.
What I did love about this, though, is you knew that this movie was going to hit on these touchstones, but when it did them, it did them so it could get them out of the way, to the point where even though there was a general framework moving forward, it was like, well, what now? Like when they go to Thanos' fucking house, the gauntlet has no gems in it, and they cut off his fucking head. I was like,
that coming. Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't see
or
that
his
coming.
arm.
Yeah.
Fuck.
His arm and his head. That's the thing. It did what fucking Rian Johnson spent way too long doing.
Mm-hmm.
It did all the subversion of expectations. It got it out of the way quickly, so you could then start to rebuild.
So you could focus on, what do these characters do next with their lives.
Yeah.
Which is great. And time skip.
Yes.
Let's praise the time skip. It was magnificent.
And then finally, obviously I won't cover this too much, but then finally, having done all of that and taking you around this wild ride, then finally did close the loop back at the end, but in a way that felt earned.
Yeah,
He fixed Infinity War's ending.
Because that's the thing. He, they really had their cake and eat it here because they killed Thanos like I predicted, but then he was still the bad guy at the end, which is great.
And this was what I loved about it, right? So Jesus Christ, I can't even be funny about this because this movie was just too good.
That's the thing. I'm worried we're not going to be funny for a little while.
Yeah,
Let's give it a shot.
So, what was good about this is in the time travel bit, it's like, okay, so now we know how they're going to do it, and as soon as they started travelling in time, I was like, okay, I feel like it might be a foregone conclusion now, but then things started going wrong in the past in a way I didn't expect them to. Like, I didn't know
really funnily as well.
Yeah. I didn't know where the peril was going to come from, but peril came from all sides. And then, Thanos from the past starts beating them, knowing what's going to happen in the future, and it's what we said was good about Infinity War. One thing that was good was the sense of cosmic doom.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, when he says at the beginning, it's a great screenplay. He's like, I am inevitable. And then even him in the past, he's like, this is my destiny, I am inevitable. And then leading all the way up to the end, he's like, I am inevitable. For what is the best fucking line ever in these fucking superhero movies, and all it is Tony Stark saying, I am Iron Man. It's fucking great.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
I think that is, I guess that's one thing I really liked about Thanos in Infinity War, is he had a purpose. And and I think they carried that through nicely. Because it feels like the character of Thanos could have been devalued slightly in this film, because you'd have him die and then come back, and that's just kind of inherently cornball. But they did it so well, and they unified his purpose back then in sort of the pre-Guardians era with his purpose at the point of which he died initially, so deftly that you always believed it was the same consistent character, as much as any of the main characters. And I think that's. It's so hard to create your ultimate big bad villain, especially in these superhero movies.
Yes.
And they really pulled it off.
They've done it with Thanos now, haven't
thematically, they closed his loop perfectly. He
saw his own death.
Yep.
But he saw that was a death that followed his victory.
So he was fine with it.
And he was really down with it.
He was happy with it. He was like, that is job done.
Fucking.
And that's great. The fact that he could look at that so with such clarity, and the fact he could, in two different points, parrot the exact same philosophy. It didn't make him feel inhuman. It made him feel all the more human.
That was Oh, absolutely brilliant. So let's talk about the time heist, mate.
Okay, so halfway through the film, so as soothsayer Aaron Chapman predicted, they kill Thanos, and all the avenging in the world isn't going to bring everyone back. So they so a rat steps on a button and brings back Ant-Man. conveniently.
Yeah, we did complain that there were so many ways that they could have pulled Ant-Man back out of the quantum realm by just having someone discover the truck and push the button, but instead they had a rat jump on it, which I guess they were trying to do a thing, because Tony says the thing about how it was an act of insane cosmic coincidence.
Yeah.
Which so I feel like I see their intention, but in practice it was just a bit annoying.
I mean, if you're going to do that, I would prefer an act of even more insane cosmic coincidence.
Yeah.
Like a helicopter crashing out the sky knocks a roof panel onto the button or something.
Yeah, and you see a bunch of ridiculous, a thing drops, something else, and then it suddenly...
Like those YouTube videos where there's a bunch of shit that happens that ends in like a domino falling over and it collapses.
And a bunch of people dying.
Yeah.
Like those ones your dad sends you.
Yeah. I cry. But yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, if you got to ham it up, really ham it up. But the rat isn't hamming it up enough. Even have it be an ant, that would have been funnier. If like an ant crawl in there and trigger it somehow.
Ant-Man's fucking saviour.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of ants.
Any which way. Either way. Yeah. So that's again a minor thing. So he comes out and he comes up with a plan. Or he comes up with the idea of a plan. He's I got the seed of an idea, which is time heist. And time heist is the idea of going back to specific points in time using what remaining pin particles there are, and getting the Infinity Stones, and then bringing them all back together to create sort of like a Tony Gauntlet that will be able to click and bring everyone back.
They can do the unsnap.
They can do and the second act of this film, and probably like a good hour and a half of this film, is dedicated to time heist. And time heist is beautiful because you go back and see so many locales you've not thought about in a while.
It was a joy. As soon as they arrived back in the Battle of New York, and they showed you just that iconic moment of the Avengers assembling and the pan around, but then them arriving as well. It was like, oh my god, I get to see this from this. It's a classic thing. It's like Back to the Future 2. You walk back through the old scene, but from a new perspective. And at times, I thought that it might skim over into being a bit hokey, sneaking around.
Yeah,
in the background,
same.
But it mostly didn't.
Not really. Even when a fat Thor, because spoilers, Thor gets fat in this,
which is amazing.
When a fat Thor is sneaking around the set of For the Dark World, a film everyone can agree sucks.
Yep.
You're still engaged.
Yeah.
And he's doing that with Rocket Raccoon of all people.
And that was more, by the way, more of the subversion of expectations. I mean, you delivered Thor, who was so badass in the last one. Even I was like, this guy's fucking sick, and everyone loves him. This is the final movie in this iteration of this franchise, and he was fat and drunk, and depressed, and kind of pathetic, and he didn't. We were talking about this earlier. When the movie hotted up and became dramatic, there was no montage sequence where he worked out and got the old bod back. They bravely just kept him looking that way all the way to the end, and it never sucked the drama out of a given scene, despite the fact it was still funny. So it was a great character beat.
I think that is up there in terms of decisions to stick to with Professor Hulk, which is a great one from the comics.
Oh my god,
the symbiosis of Banner and Hulk into one person, which might I say, and people might, not that I think many comic book people watch us, thankfully, but I think that's the best I've ever seen it done. Banner and Hulk reach a sort of compact quite often. And it's never as charming as that when Mark Ruffalo was doing it just then.
It was so good that in the opening scene where they established it, when they were in the cafe or whatever, I was watching the movie through my fingers because I just couldn't believe how charming it was being. Yeah. And it was going on for a while, and I was like, that's fine. Sustained
character beat between Ant-Man and Bruce Banner was lovely.
Yeah,
it was just and it almost perfectly complements Mark Ruffalo's almost supernatural nicety to have him acting through this really large, charming body.
Absolutely.
He becomes so fatherly and, like you said, heropisty almost. He's a bastion of comfort because he's so big and in control.
He's enlightened now. He had one problem in his life, and now he doesn't have that problem anymore. So all he really needs to do is just dole out life advice to everyone else.
Well, he becomes a bit more like Beast, but again, Beast without the problems as well. It's there was no exactly. He's just. Because I thought that was really interesting. You have Hulk and Tony who have made the best out of this situation. They've both reached some sort of concordance in their life, and then you have Cap and Thor who have done the opposite and are dealing with grief in different ways. And I think that's really interesting. And obviously Hawkeye who's dealing with it in the worst possible way.
He turned into an edgelord.
He turned into a weeb.
Yeah, and cut his hair in a stupid way.
Which again, he does in the comics, but it's fine because it's normally a bit less lame. He's called, like I said, he's called Ronan. He changes his name and he becomes called Ronan.
Aaron, what is it about hack writers? Yeah. And even though I've seen this work really well, even though it shouldn't, and thinking that vast changes in personality seem to be like inextricably linked to massive changes in facial hair or haircut.
Yeah, madness, isn't it?
It's fucking stupid.
The first thing I've ever done during massive life changes is not get a buzz cut.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone actually does that.
Oh, man, I'm so pissed off. My family's dead.
Yeah, buzz cut. But yeah, hell, they even made that work.
Yeah, they did.
Again, so one of our biggest criticisms of Infinity War was the camera work. Often dull, often uninspiring, and the exact same directors on several occasions, like, actually just not only surprised me, but sort of really delighted me.
There were scenes from the ending battle of this movie that I said, like, they looked so amazing, and it wasn't by accident, and like they are iconic, like they're already iconic. It's just the shit.
They will only get more iconic, definitely. And I think, so many little bits, so many nice little human moments. I think it felt way more human than many of the Marvel films up until now, because they generally don't. Like you said, they feel quippy.
Yep.
And the characters feel warm, but they never quite felt human.
Yes.
And that's because they don't change. But in this one, they were changing,
and
they were undergoing trauma, and they were hugging loved ones that they weren't going to see again.
And they all kind of reached their logical endpoints as characters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the big hitters. Captain America, Tony Stark was finally absolved. Black Widow. Jeremy Renner was redeemed.
See, I was going to say Black Widow was the one I thought maybe didn't, but do you think that was a fitting ending?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, because she always said, she said in Avengers that she had red in her ledger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I felt like, I liked that it was her. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been stupid if it was Clint, because the thing is Clint actually had something that he was fighting for, whereas she...
I knew it had to be her, because he had a family that he was going to be reunited with, and it was going to be all touching and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just surprised that they put it to be those two. I guess it kind of made sense because they are the two that sort of like loved each other. It was I think maybe, like you said, actually might as well get onto it now. What we took an issue with the scene where Black Widow sacrifices herself because we thought it was handled poorly in a film where everything is handled sort of perfectly,
and it put the brakes on what was otherwise a really good, because they were retreading other stuff but new things were going on in it. But in this scene they took you back to fucking Red Skull Island. And Red Skull, we got it. Those characters haven't had the monologue about the Soul Stone yet, but we have, and we're getting it again, and we're just waiting for it to be over. And then they have a way too elaborate and drawn out fight, as in a physical fight, over who's going to throw themselves off the edge, when it just needed to be a quick fisticuffs.
So, to quote our Lord and Saviour Barry Sonnenfeld from our Wild Wild West review, which you cannot currently see because YouTube hates us. There's obviously there's the rule of 3.
Yeah.
And this film prescribed to Barry Sonnenfeld's rule of 4, which was awful. And so you could have had a quick sort of... So basically there's an argument about who's going to go, and he's like, well, they both agree on who's going to go, but they both agree that themselves should go. And so then they have like a quick tussle, and then there's an exploding arrow. No, then there's electroshock. Exploding arrow.
And then there's the return of the
tuckle, and then there's the off the cliff.
Hanging off the fucking edge of the building.
And you only need 2 of those.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you only need 2 for the switcheroo, because then it just becomes laboured. Yeah.
And for some reason, I guess they wanted, because they're super spies, I guess they wanted it to be sort of like a badass show-off. Showing off all their gadgets and stuff. But it wasn't about that. It was about 2 people who really didn't want the other one to die. And they just needed to use simple brute force to overcome one another. And that would have been it. And maybe the last one is like the electroshock trick.
You know what's a fucking great example of this working? And I'm definitely going to do it. Like, I'm about to drop this bomb on you. Really? Is at the end of Armageddon. When Ben Affleck draws the shortest straw. So one of them has to stay on the asteroid. But Bruce Willis, who has hated him that whole way through that movie because he's banging his daughter, pushes him onto the transport insteat. But it's quick, and it should be abrupt. It should surprise you.
It only needs to be quick because it's quick to the characters as well. It's happening quickly.
Yeah.
If it's fight happening over a minute, that's enough time for people to be like, "Wait, this is kind of fucking ridiculous."
Yeah.
Also, like an exploding arrow. It's like fucking hell. You could have just
killed
her.
The bomb arrows.
Yeah.
It was. There were two instances.
Like, I've crippled you, but you're gonna live.
Yeah, he shot the bomb arrow that could have like made her burst into flames, and then there was another bit in this movie where they all get nuked by Thanos, and all it does is they're buried under rubble, but for some of them it's just ridiculous they're not dead. Rocket Raccoon was not wearing a suit of armour, he should have just been vaporised.
Paul Rudd was right next to the blast, so he should be dead.
Yeah. But that was another thing I liked. They got everything together, but you were just one step ahead of them, and they re-snapped, but you were like, no, and then Thanos shows up and just fucks up everything. It was the pull towards doom and defeat that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you really feel like they're fighting against like the cosmos itself, or like the inevitability. They're fighting against the inevitable will of Thanos, and some real great moments. So there are two things. I don't know how you want to structure this. I want to talk about obviously the end battle.
Yep.
And within the end battle, Captain Marvel, and then the big freeze fight off. So which of those do you want to cover first?
Sorry. When you say the big freeze fight off, do you mean Captain America?
Captain America 4 and Man.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's talk about that first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Thanos arrives from
back in time
from the past using Nebula, who, like I said, I know I said this previously, but it's like kind of my dark horse of this film. Fucking love Nebula's part in this film.
She's brilliant.
She portrays sort of anger and vulnerability in such a compelling way.
And more growth as well.
Yeah.
She's another one who changed.
Massively so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing positive about that. But yeah, so Thanos arrives, he's got his giant fucking like uniblade that I love. And Captain America and Iron Man all walk out together and they're like, oh, let's fucking do this.
Yeah,
and
we have to do it right this time. Yeah.
And it's great. You're watching each of these people, each one of them has 3 movies behind them. Collectively, they've got 9 movies behind them. They're just there battering away everything they know how.
They do that great thing that they sometimes bust out in these movies where they show that they've been fighting alongside each other for a long time because they kind of combine elements of their like fighting style.
Attacks and stuff. Yeah, definitely. And some great things change in this one. So the first one was Captain America's shield breaking under the attack. I thought that was great.
That was brilliant.
Strongest material.
Completely earned. That's a big deal that happened. Yeah.
Strongest material on Earth, but not not elsewhere. So I thought that was really nice.
Definitely.
And then there was something that I called seconds before it happened, because I am still a savant. Captain America picks up Mjolnir, and our audience actually reacted to that.
That was fucking crazy.
It was amazing. There was gasps. There was actual gasps.
And just like...
And like, whoa!
Jubilation.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Isn't that fucking great? Like, this fucking theatre is full of people, and obviously it happens off camera. He fucking hits him with the hammer. It's like, oh my god, Captain America has finally lifted the hammer, and now he's using it as a weapon. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And it was just one of so many complete fuck yeah moments in every act of this movie.
It's
full of triumph.
It's laden with small moments of triumph against inevitability.
Yeah.
And it really like adds up, and is perfectly encapsulated by that lovely exchange, that now famous exchange from Infinity War, where Doctor Strange says there's only one outcome where this all pays off.
Oh man.
And I can't tell you about it. And it happens, and it deserved to be the title of this film, because it really...
This is the end game now. Yeah.
It really worked.
I couldn't believe how excited I was during that final confrontation where he lands his entire army to go for the new gauntlet, and then obviously all the characters came back, and I expected that to be kind of a tedious, like a foregone conclusion, but it wasn't. It was a completely triumphant moment. They all showed up again.
You were sort of like, where are they? I don't know about you, but I was like, oh shit, where the fuck are they?
Because,
as soon as it was established that everyone was back, I was like, oh, people best be arriving soon. And then when they did, it was all the more satisfying.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a very sort of our generation frame of reference. It was like the fucking Rads of Rohan arriving at Pelennor Field,
exactly.
but times 1,000.
Yeah, but it was times 1,000, and that's supposed to be the high watermark. Like, it's not supposed to get better than the Two Towers and Return of the King, arrivals of reinforcements.
Yeah,
but it did.
Yeah, it did.
And it was
because you're watching you're watching 18 movies worth of cast appearing.
Yeah. And it didn't feel. I still can't fully put my finger on why this was the case, but unlike Infinity War, when all of them came back, it didn't feel like there were too many of them. It felt I wanted all of them to be there, and it was an amazing group effort. And basically, when the final struggles for the gauntlet, I think if there was maybe even just one more beat in it, where it was like, oh, he's got it, he doesn't have it, it would be annoying. But it was the perfect amount. Yeah, it
was almost annoying for me. It was, but it didn't, like you said, it didn't quite hit it. I was getting there. I was getting there when he was about to snap, and and he headbutts Captain Marvel and she doesn't move and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, this is kind of, we've been here. We don't need to do this again. Like you said, we've already seen this, like with the Soul Stone. It's like, I know that making him not click it is a big deal. But,
overall, the thing is I was just liking it better this time. Because
definitely.
I didn't think it was going to get... I didn't think it was going to get to that point when, in the final confrontation of this movie with Thanos, I didn't think he was going to have the glove again, because I didn't think he was going to have... That was the subversion. I didn't think he was going to have destroyed all of the stones. I didn't really need to go back in time, but so his regaining of the gauntlet, and then finally Tony's snap.
Tony's snatch as well, like might I say. So I saw that coming, and even still, when he clicked and it rang hollow, I was like, yes. Yeah. And I thought it was perfect.
That was... When did he get the fucking stones off him?
Because they both grabbed the gauntlet, like in his last ditch attempt, they both grabbed the gauntlet, and he like claws. You can see him claw slightly, but he keeps the gauntlet and he clicks. But the gauntlet's obviously being held away from camera, so you can just see the palm, and it does it, and it's just ding.
That completely had me. He snapped, and I was like, "You did it again! What the
fuck?"
Oh
shit! No,
you know how much of a sucker I am for this stuff, man.
This is why perfect. We get both angles of it. We get like the sort of like the rhinoing and the oh my god.
But the thing is like I should have like the narrative intelligence to see this stuff coming. But if you immerse me, then you can play all sorts of tricks on me. This movie did immerse me. Like I switch off my, not necessarily my critical faculties, but you can just tell me the
suspension,
story. The suspension of disbelief, and fuck, man. So and it was. I loved that this story ended where it started, and I loved that even though there was the stuff with Captain Marvel, Tony was the hero. Yep. And it was unashamedly, despite the fact this was an Avengers movie and it had like 100 fucking characters in it, it completely doubled down on the fact that Tony was the hero.
Oh yeah,
it was the right thing to do.
It was the Tony Stark movie. Like it was him, it was his daughter, it was his relationship with the ever more miscast Pepper Potts.
Oh Jesus
As
Christ.
she just gets more like apathetic every film, but she pulled it off, and now she doesn't have to be in them anymore. So that's perfect. Right. She's done it. She must be very happy, and she got to be in CGI for the first time. Which was good. She got to be Rescue, which I don't think they ever say her name, do they?
No.
But that's the name of Pepper Potts' Iron Man suit. She's called Rescue, which is a terrible name from the
That is a terrible name. But he posted his best performance, by the way, of all of his Marvel outings in this one, and I thought he was running out of steam.
Agreed. No, I thought after Infinity War he was sort of done, but I guess he was saving it all up for this.
He fucking delivered. Yeah. He is an amazing actor.
Yeah, fuck it. He's again, it's all about how you stick the landing, and that this will now be remembered as like the seminal superhero character run.
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking done it. Like he's put Iron Man, who when I was born and when I was reading comics initially was like, you wouldn't put him in like a top 10 list.
No, you wouldn't.
He's up there. He's one of the greats.
He wouldn't be in the front or second row of a
lineup.
A pictured lineup. So what's this?
His crotch would be like he would be like in Wolverine's crotch, like just a
definitely getting sodomized.
Oh, poor Iron Man.
So what was this? What was this other secret thing that you wanted to spring upon?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah.
So Captain Marvel will transition from like this boring reverie into my lovely irreverence. Because so first of all, Captain Marvel, obviously I wasn't that big a fan of the standalone film. I was worried in this film that she was going to feel very forced.
I thought she was going to ruin it, man.
Straight up.
Because they didn't really nail the direction, like we said in the review, of who she was.
Yeah, and again, when someone is really powerful, but you don't actually know or like them, then they will only ever feel forced and overpowered. Yeah. Because the reason we love Thor is because we've seen him struggle. I never seen Captain Marvel struggle for shit.
Of course.
So Captain Marvel appears at the beginning. She saves Tony Stark, and that's fine. That kind of works.
Yeah.
I actually really liked, quickly, there's a lovely little scene when Nebula and Tony Stark are there together, and her like hand lingers on his shirt for just a moment, and it's fucking beautiful.
That was
and
good.
she just looks really sad, and like there's such a lovely little moment there, and I was like, how easy is it for me to suddenly really love two people?
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry.
They
Anyway.
opened. Let's talk about that quickly. They opened the film. It was them. I was like, okay, but they opened on exactly the two characters it needed to open on.
Yep.
So they turned out to basically be the most important.
Very much so, and again, from the Infinity Gauntlet, the comic, like Nebula's very different in that, but she's very important, and I've always loved Nebula as a character, and this film gave me the Nebula I know and love, and I was so happy when she was there at the end with Thor and Chris, because I want her to be in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I want her to be in every fucking film thereafter.
Definitely.
I think there's so much scope for that character.
So Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
They explained
SJW
well.
trash. 2 out of 10. No, she's fine.
Cultural Marxism.
There's a Jedi Council bit at one point in the film where they're all on holograms. Don Cheadle's on a little hologram, and she's got like this is the first time you see her buzz cut.
She looks good.
She looks great. She
looks good.
I hated her a lot less with that haircut, and that's very sexist.
That's really
and
good.
she doesn't want me to think that, which makes me all the happier to think it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, she's like and you actually I'll let you say it because you latched onto this and I do think it's a great reason. There's a reason she's not in most of the film.
And the reason they come up with, and obviously we said that we were worried a bit about retconning, but actually, you know, they straight put the question to her: why the fuck have you been for all of this other shit that's been going on? She's like, you realise I'm like a fucking intergalactic one-person space force. There are thousands of other planets where things like this are happening. So.
She's like, the whole universe, 50% of the whole universe, and I gotta go police that.
Yeah, and she said all of those planets don't have Avengers on them.
Yeah,
so it's
like fair.
It's great, but then as well, it does what it needs to do, which it takes her out of the film for the correct length of time, just like you take Gandalf out of the story to come back later.
I can't believe they replaced Gandalf with a 29-year-old blonde woman.
Oh my god!
Not an elderly homosexual.
Ian McKellen's going to commit suicide. Yeah, no, I like to return.
No. It was, and that's the thing. Like, I thought she could not return in a satisfying way.
Yeah. And
there's this ship. It's Thanos' ship. It's kicking everyone's asses.
It's just firing down on everyone, which is a real moment of. I mean, I'm not insane. I'm not going to say despair, but I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty difficult thing to contend with.
No, yeah, definitely. And also, it's like again, like it kind of shows how desperate Thanos is at that point, because he's fuck it, I need to do something.
I need the glove.
I'm losing. So the cannons suddenly start targeting something else, and it's Captain Marvel, and
There's something coming out of hyperspace. What is it? It's the Enterprise.
Yeah, it slams through the ship, destroying it pretty much instantly. Which, if done poorly, I could have found the worst moment of that film, and it was done perfectly fine, which is great. Yeah. And then she proceeds to sort of like tag along, join the big three in their keep the glove away.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene that you're going to hear about endlessly because the people with less self-awareness than us will harp on about it.
Yeah.
Which is where all the women have a big fight with everyone. Thankfully, not with the. I was thinking because again,
not with each other.
No. I was thinking with the woman, like there's a woman bad guy that they fight in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Of like the Thanos cronies.
Yeah.
I thought obviously like the Marvel films always ascribe to the logic that women can only fight women.
Yeah, they do that.
I thought they were all gonna gang up on her and like kill her.
Yeah.
But thankfully they just kill everyone, and they kill like Chitauri stuff, and there's loads of like old Marvel enemies like rocking up.
You know what I loved about the Chitauri? The scalability of old threats. So obviously the big giant flying like Chitauri worm things, those were a big deal that were really hard to take down in Avengers 1. In this, and it's again an earned moment of triumph, giant Ant-Man just runs up to one and punches it in the head and downs it, and it's like they're stronger now. They're more capable than they were.
Yeah. And Tessa Thompson does a scoop along and like lances it on a Pegasus, and it feels completely plausible.
Yeah.
As well, and that's obviously like flanked by the wizards protecting people, wizards protecting everyone from falling debris.
Yeah,
and it feels completely plausible. Winston Duke's there, and he's got a club.
He's the most under-equipped guy, other than maybe Bucky.
He's a man.
Has a gun.
I tell you what, if these films weren't beloved, then Winston Duke in a loincloth and a club, rocking up to this, would be considered quite poor.
Yeah.
But, it works.
Captain Marvel.
So, we done Captain Marvel. I think she comes in, she aids them. He does his, Thanos headbutt, and it doesn't work on her, which was fairly funny.
I like that a lot,
And then she ultimately, he ingests one of the stones and, punches her with it. Is that the only way he can get her off?
Again, that was great though. Like I loved that. Again, I didn't think that was going to be the thing that happens in it. So he takes it off the glove. So I think it's the purple one.
Yeah.
This is the Power Stone. So he can punch her really hard. Yeah.
And it works. It works really well. And again, it's sort of like it gives you that feeling. You know, there's that old saying that you should be able to feel like at any point the actor could go off the stage and get a cup of water and it be completely in character.
Yeah,
Because the idea these characters can go anywhere and do anything,
yes.
and you feel like that.
Yeah.
And again, like the Captain, that's what I want to say. The reason the Captain Marvel stuff worked is because I felt like at that moment in time, everyone was on pretty much the same level, even though she's got this supposed, a mega power level strength.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess my sign off is that she didn't ruin it, which is great.
It is great.
So anyway, Irreverence. So while I was watching this film, obviously I was having a great time.
Yeah.
But in the down moments, I was thinking how like great it is that none of the characters have problematic views. Like I was thinking, like Captain America was born in the 20s, right? Like imagine he was just like,
a massive racist.
I actually believe in segregation,
You
and
would
like
never...
because you remember he's like counselling those two homosexual guys, and I was thinking he's like, I actually believe that's wrong, like because he's a Christian as well. I was like, I actually believe that's incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just not a fashion kind of guy. I don't think that a man should love a man. I think it's between a man and a woman. And also, I think Don Cheadle should sit at the back of the Avengers bus. I don't see why he has to be up here with me. Tessa Thompson as well. I just kind of feel this way. I'm an old guy. I'm from the 40s.
Anthony Daniels.
Also, I don't like Jews.
Kill myself
I'm willing
to
to
the shield.
Yeah, I'm willing to fight to liberate the Jews, but I will not let one in my tenement building.
No, I don't want them living across from me or eating at the same time.
He's like, I don't want fucking Goldstein over there.
With the gay guy in the survivors group, it'd just be like, I went on a date last night. He was great, and
he'd be like,
Ross would be like,
storm out.
I'm just going to stop you there, mate. Get out.
Yeah, exactly. That's I was like,
you should have got snapped.
And I was like, I'm really thankful that a man from the 20s doesn't have like ridiculously incendiary opinions.
Yeah.
And then again, I was thinking like, with Black Panther, if he was actually had like the ingrained anti-homosexual agenda of modern day African people.
And black nationalists.
Yeah, exactly. He's like
big homophobes.
He runs to Tony Stark. He's like, Tony, I have bad news.
I think Peter might be gay.
What is it? I don't know. I've discovered homosexuals within the ranks. He's like, what's the problem with that, Black Panther?
Please, Black Panther, children are watching this film. We're trying to appeal to everyone.
Or Peter Parker's like, hey Tony, I've just discovered a place called 4chan. It turns out I actually hate the Jews.
I'm really alright now. And in Wakanda, it turns out that the penalty for homosexuality is death.
Yeah, it's just I was just like, oh man, it's really great that all of these characters are completely normal.
Yeah. Well, they're just apolitical. They don't like aliens that snap their fingers.
That's what I mean. Maybe that's it. Maybe as soon as aliens are discovered, we'll all just like chill out a bit. But yeah, I was thinking about it for some reason. I was just like, oh, it's really useful. But
Can you imagine if Star-Lord's like mother, who obviously he was separated from and then taken to space at birth, was like a clan member? So when he's like,
she's in the hospital.
Yeah.
She's just got it.
So no one. Until he's reintroduced back to human society, no one realises that he holds his views. Until he starts hanging out with Terrence, who's like, "What are all these goddamn black people doing here?"
Or like they turn on the tape player. It's just like loads of Lynyrd Skynyrd. He's like, doesn't everyone listen to this? I just love I just love all these clan
I love
shoots.
Skynyrd. Go back to Wakanda. Got that on a t-shirt. Don't even know what it means.
Yeah, no, you're right. That'd be great because it's in isolation completely.
Yeah.
Or like he's always saying the N-word, but no one actually knows what that means up in space. They're just like, oh, that's a funny word.
Your curious Terran word.
Yeah, what a curious Terran word that is. It's just like on the side of his ship, and like giant. He like flies down to Wakanda. They're like,
oh Jesus,
Tony, I have a query about your friend.
Maybe it is best if he stays snapped. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
We've just been cancelled.
I was about to say, but even then, I say that, but at certain points I was close to tearing up. So clearly it was a film evoking lots of different emotions.
Absolutely.
In me.
I mean, you know what? I said I wasn't going to say this on mic, but and it is super embarrassing because I am supposedly a grown man. But had it not been for the presence of you guys in the cinema with me, had I just been on my own, I probably would have had maybe just a little tear up.
You can have a man. I can have a manly tear.
You can have a man cry. It's like when he was talking to his dad. Like he had a bad relationship with his dad.
Yeah. Well, like you said, just
good things.
When he just saw like Peter again, they hugged and like
that was great.
There was there was loads of little bits. Or even I really Thor's mother hug.
Thor's mother, yeah.
And Captain America looking through the blinds. Peggy, is that what she called?
Yes, it is Peggy.
Yeah, and I think we should probably call it at that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, brilliant. It's fantastic.
Closing statements. Go see it and. Please think about the same things I was thinking about as I watched it.
Yeah. I mean, well, this has relieved me of. I was saying to you that it's relieved me of like my Star Wars regret because obviously I got really back into the Force Awakens because I'm a man-child and I thought the time wasted with prequels and all the weird nerd time I've spent thinking about that because I'm a bum. This was good. I really liked the Force Awakens and I was like, now we can fix it and then I can clock out at the end of this trilogy. But unfortunately, Last Jedi was a bit of a weird one. I was like, why am I such a fucking loser? Why do I care that much? And having seen this through to the end, I'm now like, it doesn't matter if Rise of Skywalker sucks, because
we've got something that's complete.
It is complete, and it's longer
than
Star Wars was.
And we can go back to this, and we can be like, I watched from Iron Man, because fuck the Hulk, I watched from Iron Man to Avengers Endgame. It was like a 20 movie span over the course of most of my teenage to 20-year-old life, and it was fucking sick.
A lot of the time it was great.
Most of the time it was great. A couple of times we mocked it, but you know what? We didn't know how good we fucking had it.
Yeah.
And that's something.
That is fucking something.
And
fuck yes, Endgame.
Yeah, here's to Endgame.